Hello, everyone. My name is Erin Elizabeth Wernberg. Thank you so much for choosing to be here with me today. Today, we are exploring 6 phrases from Alcoholics Anonymous that are very helpful, not just if you're an addict, but can be applied to any area of your life if you're working on personal development and self-growth. So a little bit about me. I have been 100% sober from drugs and alcohol since October 29, 2011. I'm what we call an a double winner. So that means I am an addict to drugs and alcohol, but also codependency. So sometimes people just have codependency, and that's usually with addicts. So that's where Al Anon can support you. And then if you're just in AA as an addict, that means you have addiction to drugs and alcohol, food. But as someone who's been addicted to everything, because addiction is an energy, it's not just something we connect with outside of us. I've been addicted to everything under the sun. So unhealthy relationships, food, work, anything and everything, So I'm here to share 6 phrases that I learned during my time in AA that have been helpful for me to help transform some of my limiting beliefs and help push me to be a better person, and as I'm on my path to self-growth. Okay, so first one we're going to start with is first thought wrong. So this means it's very similar to the saying, if anyone in the spiritual community, just for self-help, knows, my ego always speaks first and loudest. First thought wrong basically means I have a first thought that's untrue, and then my second, more reasonable thought comes after that. And so for a lot of us who are addicts, sometimes we can think a thought and think, okay, I just need to act on this right away. But if we remember, that's usually our ego or the fear part of us or the way we've been conditioned, all of us, that's the thought that comes forward first. And so recognizing, okay, I can have a thought, but I'm not attached to it, just means first thought wrong. And then I can wait to hear the more truth, the more helpful thought that's going to come forward, and that can guide me to do the thing that's actually helpful for me, instead of just being stuck on, oh my God, I thought this thought, so that's what I have to do now. That's not true. Sometimes if we're very reactive, we might think that, but as we grow in our recovery and we continue to challenge some of the ways we've been programmed and our unhealthy ways we get needs met, remembering first thought wrong means just because I thought it doesn't mean I have to act on it, doesn't mean it's the truth. Just letting our thoughts come and go and not being super attached to them. Second one of my favorites, these are all my favorites, it's very hard to pick 6, but I love this one very much. Play the tape all the way through. So sometimes when we want to make an unhealthy decision, we're just focused on the part in the tape that is that moment. So if I want to drink or do drugs, or if I want to eat something that, is a way to escape, or if I want to do something that doesn't actually serve me, I'm just focused on this tiny little part of the tape. I'm just focused on this part of the tape that's only right here. But if I play the tape all the way through, for example, if I wanted to get very drunk, what's going to happen at the end? I have a hangover. I don't feel good. I regret my decisions. So it's not just looking at that moment of the addiction high of how that thing will serve you, but just thinking long term, what is the real consequences of this action? And so sometimes when we want to take action of something that might not be the healthiest, we, are just really focused on that little teeny tiny part of the tape. But if we play the tape all the way through, we are reminded a little bit more about why that thing doesn't actually serve us, why it's not actually good for us, why we shouldn't be committing to do that thing over and over again. So remembering to look at what are the long-term consequences of this, not just the addiction high that this gives me for 10 seconds. This could also be fighting with someone, if you're addicted to fighting. It could be if you're working too much, staying at work too long, you get this high of like, I'm really productive, I'm doing something, but then, you neglect yourself, you abandon yourself, it doesn't serve you. So again, all of these phrases can apply to anything in your life that you're having trouble working through around that, especially for people who are codependent. But the context I learned them in was Alcoholics Anonymous. Okay, third one, another really good one. I'm going to say that about all of them. Progress, not perfection. So our egos, our lovely egos, like to tell us that everything in life is linear and it's just one step and it's just going to be a very clear line and we're just going to move up like that. That's not true. That's not true at all. We're not robots. We're humans. Things come one thing at a time. And, one way that we have progress is some days it's harder than others. Sometimes I can do you know, I can go to my yoga class 5 days a week, and then I need 2 days where I just cannot go. And so that's fine, because sometimes we need to rest. Some days some trauma came up or something came up that we aren't used to dealing with. And so we can't be as intense and as present as we normally would like to be. Progress, not perfection, just reminds us that it's okay to take a break. It's okay to let myself rest for a little bit. And that doesn't mean that I'm going to totally negate or fall off or be, you know, I should just give up on this recovery process I'm trying to do, or my goal I'm trying to set, or whatever you're working through, right? So one little slip back doesn't mean that we should give up. But if we are in recovery, sometimes it means like, oh, well, I fell off the bandwagon for 5 minutes, so everything is gone and down the drain, and I just need to completely start over and everything is doomed. That's a fun story our ego can tell us, but it's not the truth. So if we just remember progress, not perfection, just remembering showing up, doing the work, trying to be there is what's important. And that's a great segue into the fourth saying that I love very much, which is, it works if you work it. So a lot of people who are codependent, like me, we believe, or we're taught, that something outside of us can save us, can just suddenly turn our life better overnight, right? So think of like Disney princess, right? These women meet a prince, and then all of a sudden, oh my God, my life is totally different. It changed overnight, all that. So that's the story of codependency. Codependency is just a very, very deep neglect of the self, distrust of the self, disconnect from the self for something outside of you. It could be a person, could be a pattern, it could be you're looking for a sense of identity, of approval, of validation. So if you're looking for all of that outside of you, then we think, okay, well, when that thing comes, then I'll be fine and I won't have to do anything on my own anymore. I'm waiting for someone to come save me. I'm waiting for the job that will give me the paycheck where, you know, I suddenly don't have to do anything anymore and everything will just be perfect immediately. And obviously, you know, there are circumstances that we should want to work into that do serve us better than other circumstances. But it works if you work it means we all have a role we have to play in our day-to-day lives. We all have our side of the street we need to work on, we need to clean up, we need to get clear about. And if we're not doing that, then, you know, we can't just be laying around doing nothing and then expect things to happen for us. I believe that, you know, we are the creators of our own reality, and we can't force things, we can't control things outside of us, but we do need to be accountable for ourselves and recognize the way that it works if you work it. Am I showing up? Am I doing my part? Am I, you know, I don't have the results I want or the thing I want, but did I actually do anything to get there? And this can be annoying, can be triggering, could be, you know, I've suffered enough, but it is just a lot of the rewriting of looking for something outside of us to fill us up, to fix us, to whatever we're looking for, instead of realizing, okay, this is something I have to do within myself, and I'm going to put the work in so I know that I am working it, so it will work. It works if you work it. Very simple. A lot of things give us certain results, but nothing replaces doing the work on our own and being accountable to ourselves. Number 5, another really good one, let go and let God. If you're an addict or codependent, I'm going to go ahead and venture that you have some control issues. I am working on it still. So when we can cling really, really hard to something, or we want something, it has to be this exact specific way. That's not letting go, and that's not letting God. God, or your higher power, or whatever you believe in, loves us, cares about us unconditionally, wants the best for us. And so if I really believe that, why do I feel the need that I need to control everything outside of me in order to make sure it's this exact perfect plan to get me what I want? So most of us who are addicts or codependents, or, you know, had any type of trauma in our lives, we think, well, I can't trust anyone outside of me, so I need to control it 100% in all these ways, or else it's never going to happen. And the truth is, if we go back to it works if you work it, if you're showing up, if you're doing what you need to be doing, being accountable for yourselves, doing the steps that we need within ourselves to take accountability and responsibility for ourselves, then eventually something's going to happen. If we let go and let God, eventually something will happen. Eventually all that work will get caught up with us. So it's when we try to control so much to the point that we don't let it breathe, let it be taken care of outside of us, nothing's going to change. And then last one, my ultimate favorite. I know I said I do love them all, but this one I probably most frequently, you know, drilled into my brain. One day at a time. Just think about that. One day at a time. Not just one day at a time. 1 hour at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 breath at a time if you need to. I've been there. So this just means that sometimes something happens, and then because we're trying to protect ourselves, we think, okay, this thing happened, so now this other thing's gonna happen. It's the end of the world. Everything's gonna go wrong. I'm totally doomed. That's fine to think like that because we've all been taught that. But if we calm ourselves down and just remember 1 day at a time, just think, what can I control right now in this moment? What can I do in this moment right now? A lot of that worrying that we do doesn't ever actually happen. We just think we're protecting ourselves when we do decide to tell ourselves, okay, I have to be careful about this, and this thing. Otherwise, this other thing is going to happen. But the truth is, if we just think 1 day at a time, we're letting things say, okay, this is what I control today. I have no idea what the future is going to be like. This again ties into let go and let God. And so if I'm controlling what I can control today, if I'm focusing on today only, what do I need to do today? Because it's good to have plans and think for the future, but the truth is only the present moment right now is all we ever actually have access to. So what am I doing that connects me to 1 day at a time, to being present right here, 1 breath at a time, 1 minute at a time, 1 hour at a time? What can I do right now to make sure I'm connected to my higher self, to make sure I'm making good decisions for myself, to make sure I'm showing up in a way that actually serves me long term, besides just, I need to do this thing outside of me. And so all of these phrases, they all tie into each other. Obviously, they're all very helpful. AA, of course, has meetings all over the world. So if you're interested, if you feel like they can help you, you can Google, read about them. The Big Book is a great resource for anyone too. And yeah, these are all phrases that I turn to as someone who's been sober for a very long time, thank God, for guidance, for support, for clarity. And so I hope they served you too. And if you ever want any information about me, you can always go to my website. You can buy my books. You can work with me one-on-one, anything like that. All that is linked below. Thank you so much for staying with me till the end of the video. I hope it served you, and I wish you many peace and blessings in your day today. Take care.